Okay folks, just continuing with 1960s David Bowie. This will probably be the final film looking at this scrapbook, but we'll see how we go. So we've got a picture there of Bowie in black and white from Music Star. That's 1969. This one isn't in terribly good condition because it's got a bit of sellotape marks there. And disc, Music Echo again, October the 18th, 1969. Featured Humble Pie on tour with David Bowie. And this is the accompanying article opposite, and there's a picture of Bowie there with Peter Frampton and another member of Humble Pie, Steve Marriott. The only bit that actually mentions Bowie in the review is this, and I'll read it to you. About 9:23, David Bowie, a tall, sensitive-looking lad with a mop of curls, started his act, accompanying himself on acoustic guitar and singing, among other things, his Space Oddity. He got the biggest applause of the night for it. So, nifty little review, even though it's only about 7 lines long. And then we come down to this page, which is Music Now, and again, a very scarce music paper anyway. Didn't have a massive circulation, but they did do this feature on Bowie in December 1969, and it reveals his thoughts and ideas, revealed in conversation with Music Now's Kate Simpson. So he's basically seen as a one-hit wonder apparently, because Space Oddity is going to be his only hit. But he put in an astounding performance at London's Purcell Room, and the Kate Simpson has changed her mind, and he's not going to be a one-hit wonder because his performance was so good. So she does an interview with him, and she asks him, does he enjoy playing? Is the hit parade important to you? For those of you who don't know what the hit parade is, it was the charts, basically singles charts, and he says no, it isn't important. The only importance in singles is to go and show people I write different stuff. I'm so hard on this. I've had it levelled at me so much in the last few weeks. A lot of people say my songs are different, and I say, well, that's my style. Every single is going to be different. And they ask him if he's got a new single lined up, and he says yes, there's 2. Is he bored with Space Oddity? Yes, it's only a pop song after all. And does commercialism worry him? Not really. It makes a considerable amount of money. And then they say, and you like the money? And he says, yes, of course I do. So that's really quite an enlightening interview with David Bowie there from 1969. Going over to the other page, this is Record Mirror, weekend in November the 1st, 69. They just featured a picture of Bowie there. This one has come out of one of my scrapbooks that I cut round. I didn't dare peel this paper off it, so I've cut it out there. And down the bottom here is now try this album, David Bowie, you'll want it. So that's an advert for his new album there. Quite brief, but to the point, you'll want it. Turn it over. I'll just spin that round. Got a few things on here. We've got a new Star Shoots Upwards. This is the Valentine's Awards poll special, 1970. And he's had a good week, and he's decorated his new house in Bromley. And he's won the Valentine Award as Brightest Hope of the Year, a well-deserved award by disc readers in the Valentine's poll. So this is from Disc Magazine, sorry I should have said. And in the original article there was a picture of Presley opposite, I remember as well, but I didn't keep that. And then over here we've got another article about him, or Isn't He Nice? A very private guy is David Bowie. He seems to enjoy being Mr. Mystery of the pop world. Okay. And then we've got a follow-up single here. This is the single review for The Prettiest Star. Another title gem from David Bowie. However, although he turns once again ad astra for his inspiration, there is no gimmicks. A very South Sea feel about it, apparently. This could be a follow-up hit, although I don't really feel it's as good as his first major. Okay, so a bit of a mixed review on that one. And then David Bowie here, and again this is out of one of my scrapbooks. Thanks everyone for the support he's had, and it mentions his management here, which is Kenneth Pitt. And that's the 27th of December 1969. Okay, moving over. This is David Bowie telling us all about his new album, which is the David Bowie album, or Space Oddity as you know it now. And he tells us about each track, his feelings about it, how he wrote it. So for example, I'll just choose Signet Committee, and he says, I wanted this track out as a single, but nobody else thought it was a good idea. Well, it is a bit long, I suppose. It's basically 3 separate points of view about the more militant section of the hippie movement. An Occasional Dream, he says, this is another reflection of Hermione, who I was very hung up about. And he just tells us about every track on there as well. So it's quite interesting and again quite enlightening. That's Disc and Music Echo, October the 25th, 1969. Hopefully you'll be able to see at least some of those comments he makes on each of the tracks. I once wrote a letter I never sent to Hermione, who was a dancer with Lindsay Kemp Mime Company. I thought I'd record it instead and send her the record. I think she's in Greenwich Village now. There you go. And down the bottom here, there's just a picture of Bowie on the left. And on the right, although there's a little bit of a chunk missing out of the article, I'm afraid, it is from my scrapbooks. It's an article about Hype and David Bowie's future, and that's Melody Maker, March the 28th, 1970. So he's moved on now to the Hype. And that's just an article about the band and about a few of the gigs they've played so far. What's that one? I've got too many pages of this left now. In fact, I think we've only got a couple. Turning this around, there's quite a few little articles around now. So we've got, if I can get this sorted here just a second. We've got Bowie saying, don't dig too deep. Pleads Oddity, David Bowie. Bear with me. There we go. And a couple of decent photos of him there, an interview with him as well. And again, we talk about Space Oddity and the film 2001, of course, and a bit of an interview. There's too much false pride within the pop scene. Groups and singers decrying cabaret without ever having seen the inside of a northern nightclub. I just want to sing to as many people as want to hear me. And I don't care where I do it. So that's pretty good. He's also saying there's too much snobbery around as well by fans. Moving over here, there's a series of smaller articles that were mainly within things like Diana magazine and Jackie magazine. So we've got the loves and hates of David Bowie. We've got David Bowie, this one here, telling Peter Noone has now recorded Oh You Pretty Things. And then the one on the right which says C'est la vie, that's just about David Bowie and his, the fact that he's got a cellar with some wine in. And down the bottom we've got The Hermit. A few years ago David left the music scene for 6 months to study books and talks about Tibet. So these are all quite rare, scarce little articles. At the top there we've got Mr. Bangers, Bowie returns. Bowie plans his return in a stereo wedding car. This is Disc, March the 20th, 1971. And I'll just let the camera focus on that for a minute. Briefly mentions Space Oddity, but also talks about the man who sold the world as well, and talks about what he's going to do in the future. So we'll stop it there, and we might have maybe a little bit more of a video, but only a minute or two to follow this one. So thanks for watching.